Oh, it's playing twice somewhere. Oh, it must be my YouTube. I got to turn that off. There we go. Could you hear the music twice?
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh, it's just on my end. Okay. What's up, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show. We're pumped to have you guys on today. Gosh, it feels like Pulsechain may be launching today. Corey inspired me. I've got my Hex merch stuff on. I got my Pulsechain gear. Corey has his. We're ready. We're ready to rock, man. This is gonna be wild. So we're pumped to have you guys. It's gonna be fun. We'll talk about strategy today. There's a lot of information going around, both good and bad. We'll do our best to debunk the stuff that's bad and help everybody be cool-headed and navigate this thing well. So welcome. It'll be fun. Corey, go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. Good morning, Hexicans. Let's go, man. I am super pumped today. I'm literally going off of 1 hour sleep. I just could not sleep last night after Richard tweeted 8 hours and he was going to barely sleep. And I was like, oh, God. And so, man, I am going off pure adrenaline. I am super stoked. We are in the right place at the right time right now with Pulsechain launching in the middle of a bear market. You guys are here along this ride with us. Let's go. This is going to be an exciting time, and thank you so much for joining the show today, guys. Let's rock it. And like you said, Dane, let's try to demyth some stuff today. I got at least one thing I really want to talk about today and help our viewers try to grasp an understanding of, because there's a lot of mixed sentiment going around in the community right now. But man, this is going to be awesome. So cool.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and post the link if you guys want to come into the show. I just posted it in the comments. Feel free to jump on in here. I'd love to have you on and talk through what's going on. It's an exciting time. Corey, yeah, go ahead and kick it off with what you want to talk about.
So the biggest thing I want to talk about is that, everyone's talking about whether the fork happened or not. And we don't know, right? There is a possibility it could have happened. But there's also a possibility that Richard does want to make the traders suffer. He wants to make the lettuce hands get out of the ecosystem before he launches his baby. So I do believe that he has a plan for this. He's not an idiot. And even Alex from Hedron and Icosa, Alex, he had posted, and his sentiment was the same as mine. He says, someone had said, hey, is the fork occurred? And Alex says, go ahead and mute mics, guys, until we're ready to talk.
Got it. Yeah, go ahead.
There we go. And he says, we can't know until we know. But from what we do know, we've had 2 test nets to test run the chain fork, deployment of PulseX, AMM bot, etc. We know how to roll back ETH nodes to be Pulse nodes. These things are likely known as quantities and can likely be scripted. There are no, maybe we go back here. Where did I go? I lost. There are no rules here anymore. In theory, it could be forked, bot run, and deployed in less than a day. Or maybe it's already been forked, pure speculation. The charts show the market speculation decision on the matter. Will they be right or wrong? 7 days is a pretty good window, basically giving the traders time to be traders and lettuce hands. So if Alex is thinking that we could run a script based off the last 2 forks that we've done, or last 2 spin-ups of the ETH nodes from the test nets, that we could do it in a day or less, there is nothing saying that the fork has happened. Maybe it's happened now. Maybe not. What if Richard Hart doesn't launch it tomorrow? What if he still doesn't launch it Monday? 7 days from Wednesday, guys, is next Wednesday. That's when he said that.
And so, Richard tends to be poor with his timelines too, so keep that in mind. Also,
that on mind. I won't be making any decision making until I have confirmation I have my assets. I want my assets, and if that means that I get trapped, what we call it, getting trapped on the Ethereum side because price moves without me, I'm okay with that because I'm still, somewhat bullish on the Ethereum assets. I don't think they're going to go anywhere anytime soon. Yes, the gas fees suck. But yes, there are whales who will protect those assets. And I do believe afterwards, especially after talking with Johnny, that we might see some benevolence between the two chains. So if I get trapped, so be it. I still got my copy. I'm long-term bullish on Hex. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. I would not want to be caught. The other side of the token was getting caught. You know, if I sell now, Pulsechain launches tomorrow, and I didn't get my copy. I would be more upset at that than getting trapped on the Ethereum side. So you got to kind of weigh out your options and think like, what would happen on both sides, both scenarios, and am I okay with this working out versus this? And that's how I made my decision.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. Yeah, you have to be all right with the downside, with the worser of, if you will, side of your scenario. And like you said, the worst side is you're stuck with an E-hex that dumps and dumps hard, at least in the short term. And you have to be all right with that if you're focused on getting your copy in hex. And just like Johnny said, I think he nailed it. You know, in the end of the day, what matters to you is where you bought and where you sold. As long as as long as this where you bought is lower than this where you sell,
the route that we get there
doesn't matter.
All this nonsense, it doesn't really matter. So hey guys, we would love if at least some of you guys will show your faces today. You don't have to, but like if one of you guys can turn your camera to be on. I am streaming from the crypto war room today. This is why I'm here, and I didn't go to the office because I got set up, ready to
hey Gary.
Yes.
We're cooking. We're cooking today, so we're cooking. I'm cooking with my girlfriend today. So I had a couple of questions though, but
yeah, give it to us.
I'll be coming in later. So
and you just muted yourself. If you got questions, yeah, feel free to throw them out there. I'm gonna guys, I'm gonna put the link in the chat again. If you want to come and join, feel free to do so. Okay, cool. So I put it in the chat again. One of the things that I keep thinking about, I just like opportunity presents itself when everybody says to either to do one thing or not to do one thing. And, you know what I mean? And so
especially crypto.
Yes, especially crypto. And so it's interesting to hear almost everybody say, well, you know, like don't ratio trade, stay out, do nothing, you know, that's going to be the best play. It might. And I think for most people, by all means. And I think if you are going to go play the game in the ratio trading, we've talked about it a lot here, you know, play with a small portion of your bags. With that being said, I think it's good to come into anything like this eyes wide open, to be able to, you know, to be able to take advantage of opportunities if opportunities present themselves. Like
there's some ratio trades that I think people should understand they can do pretty comfortably without giving a crap, right? One is maybe ratio, you know, getting rid of your copied stable coins as quickly as possible. Like we know they probably are not going to have value. The other is if you have any garbage ERC20s like gaming tokens, maybe Shiba Inu, Chainlink, or anything else. Like, you know, I feel comfortable like saying, hey, ratio out of those as quickly as possible. And who cares what kind of slippage you are incur? Because it's basically just free money. So the only other stuff that you might want to be careful, obviously, is like with your hex bag. And then I know my numbers that I'm going to be looking for, what kind of deals I want to receive if I were to go to Hex into Pulse or Pulse X, or vice versa, going into Pulse X into Hex. And so you just need to sit down and kind of pencil that out for yourself and be like, what am I okay with on the trade? What's a good deal to me? Because everyone's gonna be different. You know, everyone's got a different cost basis. Everyone's got, you know, different money that they're willing to put up with. And so like you have to like make this decision yourself. What are you going to be comfortable with when you're making these trades? So, man, we got my boy Nick Perry in the house. What's up, bro?
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
Good to see everybody.
Good to have you guys on.
Yeah,
we're ready.
Man. It's an exciting day today, bro.
Our bags are packed. We're ready to go.
Oh, man, I've been packing my bags for the last fucking 10 months, man.
That's true. It's gonna be wild, man.
Man, I'm waiting, bro. I'm here in the crypto war room, dude. I got everything fired up and I'm ready to go as soon as this thing launches.
Well, I'm diamond hands with you guys, so
Let's go. Let's go.
And for those of you guys that don't know Nick and Alejandra, Nick is one of the biggest real estate wholesalers in the nation. So we're doing our best to help our real estate buddies understand the opportunity with Pulsechain and PulseX. And these are the type of people that are coming in. It's a big deal in our opinion. So we're blessed to know Nick and Alejandra. We're blessed to have the networks and friends that we do, and we're grateful that a lot of them are going to join us all on this rocket ship. So we're excited.
Absolutely.
Yep, you guys are leading the charge. So, whatever you guys say, we're behind you 100%. We're excited.
Nice. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. You have to come visit us in Puerto Rico, man.
You need to come down and visit us here in Panama, man.
We are. We're going to Panama to visit our friend Randy Hilarski. He might actually be watching today, and he might even come on. He comes on sometimes, and he lives down in Panama, and we're going to go down there and set up a bank account with him, and he's got a little bit of a hookup down there, and you can on and off ramp crypto through his bank.
Yep.
There in Panama. We're going to go and make that one of our – you just never know kind of, oh, shit, if the United States kind of shits the bed, we have an out.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you.
You just never know, man. When you're talking about this kind of numbers and this kind of money, it's like, yeah.
Yes,
What are you guys most excited about, Nick? Do you guys have any thoughts on launch and some of that stuff?
Yeah, on launch, I think there's going to be, you guys are spot on. There's going to be so many paper hands that just try to sell right away, and the ecosystem is not going to reward that kind of behavior. So, it really resonated with me when you said, hey, this is a 2025 play. Both you and Corey have been saying it the whole time. So as excited as I am to launch, I'm still, keeping my eyes on the horizon for, that 2025 bull run.
Love it, man. Well said. Very well said.
So here's something that I've been considering. It's interesting with ratio trading. There's just so much. It's interesting because what might be good for somebody might not be for somebody else.
Exactly.
And so, for instance, I saw a tweet where somebody that said this morning, they're like, don't do any ratio trading, even if you could swap 1-to-1, swap 1-to-1 on your PulseX to Pulse, that you're still going to pay a 0.29% fee to PulseX. I was like, man, if we get 1-to-1, let's freaking go. I'm on that train. I'll make that swap.
I'll ratio back when the trade goes in my favor.
Right. What's up, Brent?
Hold on.
Oh, geez.
So Brent's one of our real estate and oil buddies. Brent's a real big oil guy. Nick too. So if you guys are interested in oil and gas, these are the guys. Reach out to them. Once again, you guys, we're doing our best to find the best people in different industries to help bring into the Richard Hart ecosystem, which we feel like is the best opportunity in crypto. And so once again, we're just blessed to know people like this and have them join us on this ride.
Absolutely.
Dane, trade my crypto.
There we've been. I can't do it for you, bro.
I know. How y'all doing?
We've paved the way, man. We've got your entry ticket here. You just got to come and get it, man.
I know. How's everything going? Y'all ready for this launch?
We're ready, bro. My bags have never been so packed. You know what I mean? I've got my portfolio well weighted the way I want it to look, and ready to take action. I think, man, it's going to be a spectacular launch, and we're going to have plenty of opportunity to get the assets that we want.
What do you think will happen right in the beginning? You think it's going to skyrocket and tank and then level out, or what?
I've got some interesting information on that one. So I've heard from two sources now. Once again, everybody's just speculating, but this is interesting. So I've heard from two different sources now that I think are pretty legitimate sources that know the group that did the, I think it was like a $14 million sacrifice on PulseX. And apparently, for all intents and purposes, those guys are checked out. They feel like they've been taken since they've had to wait for launch for a year and a half since that sacrifice. And it sounds like those guys want out and want out bad and fast. It doesn't sound like they're particularly sophisticated either. And so they could go and press market sell, eat all the flippage and see a massive dump out of the gates. And frankly, I hope things like that happen. I really do.
I think that's what'll
Um,
happen too, because you hear all these pump and dumps, and I think it's going to be one of those things that people are going to say it's a pump and dump. It's going to dump. They're going to be like, "I told you," and then it's going to fucking fly, and then it's not gonna get past that. It's going to level out somewhere, and continuously go up. I think once you get.
And we lost him. So, and I will also add to that, Dane, is that I've done a
Can you hear
pretty
me?
good. Oh wait, there you are.
we got
Yeah.
you now, yeah.
Yep. We lost you for a second.
Yeah, sorry, I got a call. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I think it'll be one of those things that'll probably. This is my guess. Is it's going to dip right out the gate, then it's going to fly.
He's getting all the calls.
It never ends with him.
You flew.
You're back.
My back or what?
Yeah, you're back.
Damn phone's going off like crazy. All right. No, I think it's going to dip, and then I think it's going to fly, and then I think it'll level out and slowly gain momentum like everything else does. But I think that once everybody sees it's not going to be a pump and dump scheme, right out the get-go, I think there'll be even more opportunity to buy the dip right out the gate.
There will be. And to add to Dane's point, I've done a kind of a good job infiltrating the haters' Telegram channels. I'll get invited into these private groups, and then I'll just kind of sit there and eavesdrop and see what these guys are planning. I got into one group, bunch of OG Hexicans who used to love Richard Hart, and then now they're big on Zen and Jack Levin, and a couple of them in there, they sacrificed millions, and they plan on rage dumping on launch. And so it's great to have been infiltrating these opposite communities to see what they're thinking and what their thought process is, because it just ensures me that there's gonna be plenty of opportunity coming to the market right after launch. Now, how long the opportunity lasts for, that's kind of debatable, but I definitely believe there'll be some great opportunity.
It's going to be power hour for sure. And I think that, something that's really good that Dane, he posted, and I've taken it with me for forever, was on his presentation, was the emotions, right? Whenever everything is doing terrible at your buy period, he had that emotion chart where it shows as things go up, people start getting excited, and that's whenever you really want to start, liquidate. I know you guys are in it for 2025, but I think that a lot of people are going to make a lot of bad financial decisions based off of emotion. And I think that we'll be there to capitalize on it, and it's going to create good opportunities.
100%. 100%.
Really quick for Nick and Brent, since you guys are on, here's a real estate question you guys could weigh in on if you want. Do you buy properties or ETFs? What do you find to be better, and how do you deal with bad tenants who don't want to pay that you can't kick out? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll put my perspective. I'm 100% about buying properties. I'm real tangible assets. So if I go make $20 million on Pulsechain, it's going right back into real estate.
Love it.
Yep.
That's just going in the ground.
Yeah, his is going to go into oil and gas, but we're all here, to invest into actual hard assets. With the way the world's going, I'm not a big fan of stocks, ETFs. I know a ton of people that are experts on it, but it's just not my game. So I'm big into properties. If I've got a tenant that I can't kick out, easiest thing to do is to negotiate a cash for keys. You can always go the legal route, start going demand letters, start getting attorneys involved, but that's going to be the longer route. It's going to be more headache. I prefer to just have a conversation and negotiate a cash for keys. A lot of times, honey catches more flies than vinegar. So have a real conversation, offer a little bit of cash, money talks, and take you a lot farther than contacting an attorney right out the gate.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that. Property, I think that money can be made in any industry, in any market. There's always somebody doing the opposite. When it's a bad time to sell, there's always people that are buying. When it's a bad, time to buy, there's always people that are selling. I think that you can make money in real estate in any market. Whenever you have problematic properties or problematic people inside of your properties, I've dealt with it, firsthand. Honestly, that's one of the reasons I like oil and gas. But you can have the same thing in oil and gas as well, right? You can have the pipeline get shut in, or, something happen where you get flooded and the trucks can't get to your tanks. And I mean, it's one of those things that you've got to be prepared. And I think doing good due diligence on the property that you have or the property that you're buying, can alleviate a lot of that whenever you get, talk to tenants before you buy rental properties. If it's your rental and they've been there for a while, sometimes it's one of those long drawn out battles where it's almost like a mediation in court, right? You're going to give up more than you want to give. They're going to take less than they wanted, but some way and somehow a deal gets done. But I'm a huge fan of real estate forever. It's just I've been waiting for that kind of dip for everything to kind of go shit show so I can start buying, because that's where you make your money's on the purchase. So anything you can buy in a down market is good. And if you're buying in the high market, obviously, you want to short it. It's kind of hard to short rent. Pisses everybody off. So
right. No, those are great points. And if you guys if you've been watching the channel, you'll know, we've collected the data historically. When you look at similar launches, your best buying opportunities are within the first 90 to 120 days. That's typically when these types of charts find their bottom. If you talk to anybody that was a Hex OG, anybody that went heavy day 1, day 2, the first week, they all regret it. They all wish they would have been more patient. They would have had a better dip, a better buying opportunity. Not to say that this could be different, but take that all with a grain of salt and figure out how you want to operate with your own capital.
Yeah, I think it was day 30. The Hetzikins who went in like day 30, those are the ones who experienced the 10,000x.
Yeah, correct.
So, yeah.
What are your thoughts there, Sprack Burger? We appreciate you.
Sprack Burger, what up, bro, man?
You just unmuted yourself, but we can't hear you. That's all right. What's up, Rhino Chaser, Crypto Lead? If you guys want to jump in, feel free to do so. If we leave it to Brent, he'll talk the whole time. So we got to.
Hey guys, I'm here. I'm here to keep the show going.
That's right. No, we appreciate Brent. We've known
Corey,
Brent and Nick for a long time.
What do you think is the fastest way to put your money into this?
Trust token. Trust token is always the best resource for onboarding money into the crypto space. It's set up as an escrow account, and you wire money into the escrow account, and they literally mint you stable coin right into your wallet, right into your hardware wallet. So you're bypassing the centralized exchange. And so it's probably it's probably the best DeFi product we have out there for onboarding, even though it's not really DeFi. But trusttoken.com, they're amazing.
Is there a way to change my crypto, like from Coinbase or KuCoin over to this?
Yeah.
In fact,
yep. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, if it's already there, what you'll do is you'll use the bridge. You can go to pulseramp.com. And
he has to extract the money off the exchange though, Dane.
Yeah, that's true.
You'll need to go there and withdraw the money and put it on a wallet where you hold the keys that you control, that you're custodian of, and that wallet there on the Ethereum blockchain. So you're going to withdraw it to the Ethereum blockchain, and then from there you can bridge what Dane was talking about. You can go to the Pulse ramp and bridge in that new economic energy into Pulsechain.
All right. And you think it's launching today or what?
We do, man. It could happen literally any minute, man. It's like I didn't sleep last night. I'm freaking wired off coffee.
Corey
right
might
now.
not be sleeping for 3 days. If
I was worried about you. I thought you were pulling.
Oh man, I mean,
this is like the Super Bowl for Corey and Dane right here.
It is, man. This is a year and 10 months in the making for us. I mean, some of the OG Hetzikins have been waiting over 2 years, but me and Dane, a year and 10 months, of hard research, due diligence, integrating into the community, obviously investing a lot. So it's just been, this is it, man. This is a Super Bowl on steroids, bro.
Let me ask you, let me be that guy real quick. What are you going to do if it fucking just absolutely tanks right out the get-go?
Oh, I'm buying, bro. I'm a net buyer. I'm a net buyer all through this bear market. Through the whole bear market, I'm a net buyer, man. I got money on the sidelines. I got stable coins ready to go. I am not fucking around, bro. I'm a buyer.
Good. Excellent. And what are you going to do if it fucking
I hope
flies?
it does.
What are you going to do if it flies to the moon? Are you going to take anything off the table right after you get-go?
Nope. Not
Probably
me.
buy a Lambo or two,
Now, like, say one asset flies out of the gate. So let's take an example. Say Pulse X flies, and me and Dane have the opportunity to sacrifice for Pulse X. Say it flies and PHEX dumps. Well, then I will allocate some of that money from Pulse X into PHEX so I can build those bags up larger. If I could get my PHEX bags as big as some of these OG hexagons, where they're rolling their stakes every single 30 days and making $10, $20, $30,000 every time they're rolling their stake, I'm gonna take that opportunity. So
just make sure you don't invest in fucking something that flies to the moon and then something that sinks and end up fucking even.
And that's the game we play. It's all speculation. Nobody knows for sure. So you find the things that you feel comfy betting on. You buy them when they go on a discount, and then you wait.
Yep. 120%. Sprack, are you
Wait.
there? Let's see if he popped back in. I just want to see if he was there. Go ahead, Nick. See if
When's the move to Puerto Rico taking place?
So I'll be down in Puerto Rico 2 weeks from now, and Dane's like 1 week after that, and I'm gonna be down there for a month, maybe 2 max. I got a one-way ticket. We'll see how it all flows, and that's just to go and live in a different neighborhoods all over the island. Taking the wife out there, taking the baby out there, and then the goal is to be out there on the island, move there, probably shortly after Christmas, I would imagine.
Hello.
I've got some great recommendations that I can send you. I've been all over Puerto Rico, north end, south end, east end, west end. I know a lot about it. Know where all the waterfalls are. Know where the good neighborhoods are, the bad neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're pretty blessed that over 30 hexagons live in Puerto Rico because they all retired there from Hex. You know what I mean? So it's like we're moving to a place that we already have family at. And there's real estate guys there. Robert Wensley lives there, and Jerry Norton lives there. And so we got some real estate guys there. We got all the crypto guys there. I mean,
Robert moved to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, Robert Wensley's in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
No fucking way.
Well, he's planning on selling Investor Lift, and when he sells that company, he doesn't want to do that in the United, under capital gains and other.
I do wonder how expensive is it there?
So it's a little bit expensive. I mean, because a lot of big money's been moving there since they get the tax breaks. Probably similar to like living in Hawaii, right? That's
no. Hawaii's way more expensive. Puerto Rico,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say it's very similar to like the Houston market. I would say like on a scale of price, it's not Miami prices. On a scale of price, you're going to be paying about like 7.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being super expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I'm preparing myself mentally for it to be a little bit more expensive, and if it's not, then great, right? Like it's like
Tampa prices.
Yeah. So,
hey Corey,
Sporek, there you are, bro.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got juggling a bunch of stuff over here, but yeah, good to see you guys on.
You got any
Friday.
charts for us?
Yeah, we could do some charts.
Yeah, we would mind taking a look at the hex chart as it's getting slaughtered this morning
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still within the channels that we've been projecting for the past month or so.
I can talk about it on here because he's been talking about it publicly in the Twitters. Buck Fiat market dumped 22 million hex this morning, and oh my god, man. He was announcing it on Twitter, and he says, "I don't care about the copy. I have to hedge my bet." And because he's running 2 different protocols on the Pulsechain. As you guys know, he's the one that's gonna be running Fiat, and he's gonna be running Famous. And so he wanted to take some liquidity off the table, and he said he didn't even care about getting the copy or not. And so he told everybody in the Twitter that he was doing it. So I mean, you could have front run them if you wanted to, if you were in the Twitter room, and he was talking about it. And he obviously some guys got mad at him, like Identity Block got in there and started arguing with them. It was really good. I mean, so I could have played that, man. I wasn't sleeping. He was talking about it. I could have ran on my computer and I could have market sold and front run them. But it's like, man, I'm not gonna miss the opportunity of not getting that copy. So,
Yeah, that's traders are going to trade, and that's fine.
Traders are gonna trade.
Yeah. You guys want me to do some charting?
Yeah.
Let's see the hex chart, man.
Yeah,
Let's bring that up.
Right.
I think that's a good. That's gonna be a good talking point.
All right, let me share my screen. You guys see my screen?
Why are
here?
you pulling that up, Nick? I think you might have had something that you wanted to say while he's pulling up the chart.
Oh no, I was gonna say, if you guys need any recommendations down here in Panama too, we've got attorneys for everything. I know you guys have an attorney already set, but we've got our trust down here, our foundations, LLCs, working on
Beautiful.
residency. So
Yeah.
the bank that you guys are talking about is literally right behind me. I can see it. It's a little foggy right now, but
Tower
it's right
Bank.
here. So you guys are more than welcome to stay. When you come here, we got plenty of room. Just let us know when you're coming down.
All right, we're doing it, man, because I want to make sure I have at least one optionality that is not the United States.
Yes.
Right there with you.
Agreed.
All right.
Yes, well, it's Brack. Let's see it.
Let's
All right,
go,
guys,
bro.
can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, give us the bad news, man. You don't have to be
Okay.
bullish.
Okay, so the bad news is that we can still come down to the 3 cent range.
Okay.
So that's the bad news. The good news is that we have this channel and was able to get some better chart dating from TradingView. They had some issues with the data on Hex, but I'll do some price predictions on what we're going to look at for the next couple of
Yeah,
years.
let Brent and Nick know that what they could be looking at in a couple years, man, because I think these guys need to know.
Yeah, so there's you got short-term projections and you've got some of the longer-term projections. So on the short-term side, we've got this channel that we've been in for quite a long time. And what you notice is that during that V3 announcement, we popped up out of it and we're trading up on the upper band of these this pitchfork. But like I said, this apex here down around that 3.3 cents, I don't think we go any lower than that. There's plenty of resistance at that area. Plus, there's so much liquidity back here in this sort of support zone that you can even range it back to the 2021 era where we bounced off of it, came up over it. We'll likely see some sort of a pattern here. But I like this area as in terms of like a buying opportunity. If you do see prices dip down in there, that's a great spot to pick up more of this stuff. But yeah, once we trade above this channel, notice how we weren't really able to close and maintain above this channel. We just kept getting rejected by it. This was a lot of FOMO, this white candle here during that V3 announcement. I mean, look at it, just hit a pocket of this liquidity that was on this sort of sell-off period. Yeah, so I mean, that was a point to be selling, unfortunately. But yeah, if we get to close above that channel, and then start to ride this wave up and start looking at the bigger kind of macro pitchfork that I have, then we could start trending up towards my overall targets. And I've got 2 targets on the lower end, something around $3. On the higher end, something around $10. And I'll explain a little bit about why I like this target. And I'm going to go back to what Bitcoin did on its first sort of power wave. And we can go back in time to 2012, 2011, around the time Bitcoin was launching and doing its first wave. And during its first run up, there was a 52,000% run up, and then we had this bear market pullback. Did this range, and notice how it's got the pitchfork. It's within the pitchfork, and it's trending up, and gets this parabolic run. And notice how it comes back and hits the middle median line of that pitchfork that was created from its first market cycle. Now, after time, I expect it to fall out of that pitchfork and hit the lower ends because, we've got diminishing returns. You're not going to get the same amount of price increases because of how much liquidity is involved in this market. You need $1 trillion to move Bitcoin now. We're going to have something similar with Hex. We'll have a rounded top, kind of an S curve. But what I like is that we are in the first cycle of Hex. So just going back to the Hex chart and watching that it did its first cycle, it's doing its first pullback. We are going to see a consolidation range. We may even dip below these the pitchfork, but I do see it hitting back into its middle median channel at the minimum. So my target would be like a $5 hex, plus or minus. Obviously, we could get some really severe speculation. We're not just, we've got some macro activity happening within the next couple. We have an election cycle. We've got the money printing to get us out of quote unquote recessions. I do see inflation on the rise, so hard assets are going to be something that will run, and obviously we're going to be tied to the overall market with Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's another reason for the dump on some of these assets is because Bitcoin and Ethereum have been dumping. We could do some charting on that too, but I know you guys are interested in Hex, and
Absolutely. I mean, $10, Brack. I mean, I think me and Dane, we could pull our money together and then we can buy our own Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
$10 hex.
Yeah. Now, so just take it with a grain of salt that we are getting a stock split. We are going to have the Hex on 2 chains. So just to remain conservative, just say that this is your combined Hex. This is your Hex on each side, on both sides of the chain. So just keep that in mind that, but my opinion is that the automated market maker fixer bot from Greg the Duck has $55 billion of liquidity available to protect the products that he loves. And there was no accident in why that liquidity was there I mean, the whole purpose of Pulsechain was to protect the functionality of Hex because it was being destroyed by the Ethereum fees, and it was kind of keeping the little guys out. Obviously, if you're an ETH whale, you don't care about the fees. You'll spend $100 to push $1 million through. You're not too interested in that. But I want to onboard my friend from work or my cousin or someone, and all they've got is $100 at the end of the week, and they're not going to pay $50 to trade $100 or to stake or to unstake. And so the Pulsechain is really going to be this parallel economy alongside of the Ethereum ecosystem. And the ETH whales are going to stay on one side, and sort of more of like the mom and pop sort of trader, smaller retail. They can really take advantage of the lower fees on the Pulsechain side. And if you're an ETH whale and you see the price on the EHEX dipping hard versus the Pulse side, you'll just take advantage of that arbitrage opportunity. So I do see a liquidity bonding. I see the market maker doing some of that. I see some of the whales coming in and taking advantage of the arbitrage of the two different assets. So I think we find parity relatively quickly on the EHEX PHEX pair. There will be volatility, not going to lie. I am going to be doing some of the providing liquidity between the bridges so that I could capture the fee structure that's going between matching that pair between EHEX PHEX. There's no impermanent loss at that point, and that's because I'll be selling one asset for the equivalent asset, and price will eventually stabilize, in my opinion. But like the most I could lose is having all of one or the other, which I'm fine with because I want both.
Me too. I tell you what, Breck, if the incentive token is going to be offered right out of the gate for providing liquidity on EHEX and PHEX, I will also be providing a small piece of my bag, an LP position. It'll be highly volatile, so I know the fees will be great, and I want to get a chunk of that incentive token, man. I don't want to. I feel like the getting's going to be the best in the beginning with the incentive token, so I want to make sure we get some of our bags in there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So the incentive token, a lot of us don't know what it's going to, what the functionality of the incentive token is, but I have a feeling that it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And you know, like I'm debate. I still don't have a plan yet on what I'm going to do with the incentive token. You know, some people may sell it, some people may you know, try to like take some profits and this and that. I don't have a plan quite yet. For the time being, I'm just going to hold on to it because I don't know what it's going to do. It could be an incentive for airdrops. It could be an incentive to participate in uh, like other kind of ICO type activity. You know, maybe voting rights on certain aspects of the protocol. So I'm just going to hang on to it. And
Well, we also found out too that you can build on top of it, and the same way that people build on top of Zen, and they were able to burn Zen for this or that, and then you build these protocols that basically become a consumer of Zen, and they could do the same with the incentive token with the burn function that it has attached to it, and it's actually a very limited supply that will be coming out every single year. I can't remember the exact number, and maybe Dane remembers, but it's pretty
Like
bullish.
32 million, I think.
32 million. That sounds about right. And so
And,
that
and we've got a little bit of a taste of what that could be with Zen. I know we say Zen, and most people's like cringe
don't blow our chats up with hate
at the word, but it's interesting because we saw Zen pump because there was a protocol that came on to burn it up, and it's cool because there's the burn functionality built into the contract on the incentive token. So not to say that the incentive token is like Zen. It's not in most respects, other than the burn function where people could build protocols used to burn the incentive token and lessen the supply of it in time. And it might be a really interesting pumpamental. So
here's another thing I learned about the incentive token this morning, man, is that it has a function built in its contract where it makes or it helps prevent Pulsechain from being forked. Don't ask me how that is there or what KDP was talking about this morning, though, that it has it in its contract a functionality to prevent Pulsechain from being forked.
Really?
Yeah, I do not know how that's possible. And but KDP was talking about it today and early in the Twitter chats. It's crazy.
Gary, I found something else as well. Do you think there is a possibility Richard may launch Pulsex on V2? Because I remember one of his live streams, he preferred V2. For example, he prefers to use V2 for better price growth, and then when we get mass adoption, use V3 for stability, because you get more price growth on V2.
I'll give my 2 cents is that I think we are going to see V2 first.
Yeah,
because we haven't heard otherwise. And Richard likes bragging about features and about what he can build. And, you know, he likes getting the community hyped up. And we haven't seen any bragging about a V3. And so I feel like just how you said, it's going to be V2 initially with a V3 coming in down the road. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's what you guys are talking about what may or may not happen during launch. Just going back historically to something like Uniswap, you can see the chart. There's this is the launch of Uniswap, and I mean, obviously there was Uniswap is a little different because most of the allocation was to the insiders, so a lot of this was volatility due to bots and people providing the liquidity to the market. But yeah, there was a lot of volatility at the onset. It hit a peak about $15, but then eventually dumped down to about $2.54, and I think even went even further to about $1.50, something like that. So if we're talking about like volatility, initial volatility, when Pulsechain launches, we could get something like a negative 88, negative 90% dip. I know you guys probably don't want to hear that, but I'm expecting every single one of these coins did this. everything from Matic to Link to Solana, Uniswap, all of these coins during the launch had massive volatilities. I don't think you're going to capture any of that in terms of like market orders. You might be able to set some limit orders, but you're in competition with everyone else. You're in competition with robots. You may or may not get your order filled, even though price goes into your range. So I would just say, maybe if you don't have robots, if you don't have a lot of the sophisticated trading strategies set up, just kind of like let the market subside for a little bit. This right here, this timeline is looking at about, how many days is this? This is like a month. So if you're willing to sit on your hands for about a month and just let price sort of stabilize and then start coming in with capital, this is what I'm going to be doing. And
I love it.
And then just kind of accumulate. All these coins do this. They all go through this dump. They go through an accumulation phase. And then once you start to push up into the upper bounds of the range, this is kind of like where you'll get some of the resistance because people were buying down here. Again, traders will be traders. You're going to, what's a bot going to do? If I program a bot, I'm going to program it to buy the bottom of a range and to sell the top of a range until we get, that's what I'm going to program that robot to do. So why would it do any? So you'll see a little bit of congestion trying to break up in these. This is a lot of the profit taking, but then the market just takes off. And when it does, it does this.
Oh God, I can't imagine that.
Right. And so look, $44. So that, at that point, you've suffered a 90% decline, but you stick around for this run up that, and this is within months, guys. This is not years. This is within months. This is a 2,000% appreciation, and then obviously some consolidation, and we'll get back into these ranges. But I guess my whole point is that you'll see a lot of that dumping. You'll get an opportunity, accumulate the range. We don't know when it's going to pop off, but when it does, it moves violently in the opposite direction.
And I want to touch on, you said accumulate the range, which is a very, very crucial. Guys, making sure that you're not FOMOing in on that initial green candle that shot up to $14, leaving yourself some dry powder, having a good DCA strategy in place. And like you had said, accumulate the range. Use it as a blessing. Use it as a gift. It is a gift. It is a blessing that we're going to have one more shot to build your bags before the train leaves the station.
Yeah, 100%, Dane. Corey, I do know people that are hurting, and they've expressed it. They've expressed it on social media. They've taken loans to participate in some of this stuff.
Yep.
And they want out. And what's going to happen is some of them are going to be selling at a loss.
Yep.
Because they're underwater on either on loans, or they're getting liquidated on other positions, and or maybe it's a small person who maybe they see 200 grand in their account, and that's more money than they've ever seen in their life.
You will have that. Yeah.
And that money to them can pay for their mom's surgery, can pay off student loan. Maybe their houses are being foreclosed on. You have all of these situations, and we're all different human beings with different journeys in life. So I'm preparing for that volatility, and also the emotional investment that people have had for the past 2 years. I think people went a little heavier than they should have, and the reason for sure, no, 100%.
See it all day long on Twitter. That's always
for sure, 100%. And here's why. We were at the top of the bull market. We were at ultimate frenzy. We were at speculation nirvana, and at that point, anything that you put your money in just did a run up. You could easily catch a 3x. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. Like when I was trading some of this stuff, It was like, oh, buy this random coin. It's like, you know, doing a consolidation phase. Okay, let me start accumulating. Pop, get a 6x, pull out the initial, have a moon bag. And it was just rinse and repeat. And it was like pure alpha in the charts because they weren't being manipulated like the stock market was. It was actually more pure because it was 100% emotional trading in the charts. And they followed a lot of the Fibonacci levels more perfectly. A lot of the technical trading patterns were actually more consistent. It's kind of like you know, aerodynamics, but like now that you're in outer space, there's no drag, there's no wind resistance. So we didn't get a lot of the manipulation from traditional finance, as opposed, at least not in the smaller coins. And bigger coins, yes. But anyway, long story short, I do see people capitulating at the onset again for all the various reasons that you could think of. But yeah, we were definitely hitting the high frenzies at the top during the sacrifice phases.
Absolutely.
Right.
Paul Sachs said, if you guys aren't following the Crypto Confessions, make sure you're following that Twitter account, and it has all like people confessing getting wrecked, people confessing taking leverage, people confessing giving up their citizenship and then getting wrecked. Like you see all kinds of horror stories.
And really quick, those of you that are in the show that joined the show, if I muted you, I'm just trying to manage background noise. So that wasn't to indicate not to speak, just trying to manage background noise. But what's up, Crypto Compassion? Grateful you joined us.
Yeah,
man.
what's up, bro, man?
What's up, buddy? We doing good, huh? Oh, dude. Good? Oh yeah, we've been on this. We've been packing our bags for a long time, haven't we?
Yeah, man. Did you sleep last night, bro?
1 hour.
What? That's what I.
Yeah.
If Richard wants to play games, you guys might have to be up for 3 more days.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna have maybe Vets and Crypto give me a call. I might try to take a nap and just say, hey, dude, if it launches, you need to call me just nonstop.
Yeah, he's a good dude. It's funny, man. Vets and Crypto. The very first crypto conference I went to, he was like the very first like Hetzikin to come up to me and me and my family. I had my wife and daughter there, and we went to the Crypto Sparbuck dinner. And he's the one that came up to me, and I had me sit at his table, and he was so friendly. He was one of the very first Hetzikins that was like very just like open and like inviting into the community. Man, was Vets and Crypto. So I like that guy.
He's good people. He's up here in the Northwest with me, and we like to hang out, and you know he's still like 4 hours away, but we still hang out with each other. We make it happen. You know how it is with these meetups. You know what I mean?
Yep. When you find a Hetzikin, man, you're gonna get to them.
Yep.
What any words of wisdom or Alpha?
Yeah, man, you've been around the block for a while.
Strategy.
Yeah, you've got some wisdom in your belt.
You know, I was listening to you guys on the car ride home, and I think you guys were talking a little bit about ratios and all that kind of stuff, and kind of like how people were saying stay away from it. And some of that's, you know, definitely wise. But like you said, if there's an opportunity that maybe presents itself, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. Don't get greedy. Don't be, you packed your bags for a reason. But there is opportunities, I think. I think, Dane, you mentioned that there was a group that, you know, had that sacrifice set for Pulsechain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty powerful. That could probably present quite a powerful opportunity for someone who maybe has a lot of Pulsechain.
Right.
I don't know, possibly. Right. So I was already considering that, you know, and I'm sure you are too, Corey.
Yeah,
you know it, bro. You know, I mean, if it presents itself, I'm going to take a little bit of it, you know, because I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind balancing things out. I mean, I know I got more pulse than I do with PulseX. So
you'll be able to. I think you're going to have a few opportunities if you wanted to balance it a little bit of that. You can. I think there's going to be opportunities on both sides of the coin, man. I really do. Like I said, there's people in the community that want to freaking rage dump. It's dumb. And then there's people like Sprack was talking about who took leverage and they took loans and they're hurting. We got to remember we're still in the bear market. This is the bear market. The economy is still wrecked. The Fed just raised it at 25 basis points. We don't see any relief in sight yet. Is it coming? Yes, but it's not here yet, and people's lives are still being affected by this. And so we got to take that into account. We'll have a little bit of our own little bull run maybe here in the beginning, but then we're, like I said, we're still in the bear market, and the macroeconomics matter.
Yeah, I do think that especially probably in both Pulsechain and Pulsechain, I do think that there's some big dogs on the sidelines that would not be very happy to see it get below SAC rate. That's my thought process. I mean,
I'll be protecting it.
That's what I mean. I just don't think they're going to want to allow that to happen. I think that we could kind of see that maybe that people are jockeying and positioning themselves with the sell off of Hex. I think they're going to bring in fresh capital. I think they're just like, they're doing a number of whale games, and I think some of it's just like, hey, we don't want you to have a higher price in Hex in order to get a ratio into the asset, the new shiny asset that we already have, and that we're going to get some, stable coin and bridge it in, and we're going to buy it up. So I don't know.
Agreed.
That's going to be wild. I'm excited. But I think, and we agree with everything you just said. I also, for a lot of people, I know that it's easy to get overwhelmed with emotion. I think worst case scenario, you're going to do just fine sitting on your hands. If you packed your bags, you're in a good spot where you feel good, like you'll be fine. You don't have to come and play the game. And so you've got to decide for you. In fact, for our mastermind guys that do real estate and crypto with us, we've talked about this for months in the group, where some of our group members are getting stressed out, feeling like they need to be in a rush to do something. Where Corey and I, we want to rush in and dump some of our stable coins and things of that nature, right? But in the end of the day, we've said, look, don't feel pressure like you need to do anything. And that's the beauty of this, is you don't need to do anything too fast. You don't need to shoot yourself in the foot. Just be wise and patient. That tends to be the best recipe when interacting with assets like this that are so volatile.
Agreed. If it's a choice between, sitting on your hands and being patient, or being FOMO and acting without thinking with FOMO, then you need to sit on your hands, be patient. Now, if you can get in there and you can hold your motions and act accordingly and sit down and crunch some numbers and figure out, like, okay, am I getting 200 pulse per hex? Oh, I might want to take that trade. Am I getting 500 pulse X per hex? Oh, that's looking attractive. Or is it the other way, right? Is it only 30 pulse for one hex? It's like, oh, wow, you might want to go the other direction now. And so, like, if you're able to sit down and have a level head, calculate, make sure that, when you get addressed with a slippage notification, that you have taken that into account, depending how much the slippage is. And like I just said, just being level-headed about it and not let the FOMO overtake, then you might be able to capitalize on a trade or two, right? Before the bridge comes in. So just be careful. And if you don't think you can do it, like Dane said, sitting in your hands is the better alternative than FOMOing and making mistakes.
Yeah. What do you have cooking up there, Sprack?
This is Ethereum, and we're noticing a pretty big correction on Ethereum. Kind of started about May 6th, maybe like a week ago, and this is a daily chart, so it's a pretty decent sized candles, but we've got this big dump here happening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down days in a row. And I think what's happening is because Ethereum is tied to Bitcoin. Ethereum has like a lot of liquidity to the overall market. And I think what's possibly happening is the market's kind of front running what could be like a Fed pivot, could be something where the interest rates on the dollars or the bond market is starting to have its toll on the market, and you're seeing banks foreclosing, and you're seeing like a lot of that what you would call uncertainty is starting to hit like the equity markets, and the equity markets are actually going to affect Bitcoin and Ethereum quite heavily. But yeah, and then we're getting rejected off of these macro levels. So if you go back to like the previous bear market cycle, this $2,000 level was actually like a really big sort of pivot point. Remember, we talked about these anchor points where the market moves violently away from some location, some price. That price point anchors in people's psychology. So this 2100 level, I was watching it for a long time and notice how we went right up to it and didn't even touch it.
It's funny how
And
that works.
it's funny how that works. And we just sold off from it. And as a matter of fact, it was
Did the Ethereum Foundation initiate that sell-off?
yeah. So that's true. There was some sell, but I think they sell
His excuse
periodically.
was to control the gas fees.
Maybe they've got
what a narrative.
They got a lot of other things to do, but the Ethereum the Ethereum Foundation, they sell periodically to pay for their engineers and their in-house kind of stuff. So it's it's like any corporation that pays their employees and these guys are not working for free. They need to make money like everybody else, and they have to pay their bills and whatnot. So I'm not necessarily watching that. I think it's more of a coincidence, but it is at a macro resistance level, and we sold off heavily from that level. This was actually a pretty decent down move. It was a 16% move. So a 16% move, and then you had what? Let's talk about this. We had a retracement, and the fib retracement went right to the 618. So right at the Fibonacci level, this was kind of like the market sort of reacting, and then that's the last gasp of air. We talked about that as your second opportunity to get out. If you were looking to take some profits at that level, if you missed out on this one, this was your second chance to get out, and then the follow through. And this is all one kind of kind of like a head and shoulders pattern where you have one shoulder. You have the head, then here's the other shoulder, and then you broke the neckline. And you broke the neckline, you're just going to come back down to whatever the next support area is. And the next support area that I've got marked out is about the 1600 level, 1676. So I think we come down to this level. This coincides with the upper band channel that's been happening ever since January, or it's actually November. So November bounced off, January did the run up, came back in. This was that sell-off during the banking crisis, but all it did was capture the liquidity from up here and then sort of form the channel. I think we do have a bit of a sell-off into these regions, and then I could see the market picking this back up at the 1670 level. And this would be a good place to be a buyer again.
If you want to get into ETH,
If you're wanting getting into ETH, remember Ethereum. I'm bullish on Ethereum for a lot of reasons.
I am too. I don't buy the narrative that I need ETH for my in stakes. If I just keep a little bit of liquid hex in my wallet, I should anticipate, assuming that my hex does good, and that's why I'm unpicking it anyways. My hex will outperform the ETH, and I can swap my hex for that ETH that I need to unstake my. I just need a little bit of liquid hex. I don't need a lot. I agree 100%, and I'm doing for my play. I have some ETH for that, and then he's a good blue chip. I'll give you that. It's
in my the IRA portfolio that I set up. I did buy a bunch of ETH, but I have it staked on Rocket Pool. And it's in a vault wallet, and I'm not touching it for 5 years or something, like 5 to 10 years.
It's a great blue chip, man. Yeah, you can't go wrong.
It's gonna dampen the volatility in your portfolio. It's not you need a little bit of ETH. I think you need a little bit of ETH. Also, Ethereum is changing. It's obviously changed in the past year from proof of work to proof of stake. There's going to be more activity happening. I have a feeling that Ethereum within the next 3 to 5 years, we'll finally get to their, their ZK rollups and all of the stuff
Yeah,
that they
it
were
will. Yep.
that they were supposed to do. And then guess what? There's not going to be any need for these layer twos. So
Yep.
if you're playing the Arbitrum, Optimism, if you're playing the Matic, if you're playing
Matic,
the layer two solution on Ethereum, that's a great play for the next cycle. But I don't see it being the ultimate replacement for Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to eventually.
I know a replacement for Ethereum.
Well, yeah, and even then, I don't think it's a replacement. I think it's a parachain. I think
it's a parallel universe. Yeah,
it's a parachain. I think they can coexist. I think they can help each other out. I think the McDonald's, Burger King, it's
I give that analogy all the time.
Analogy is perfect. You've got Chevron on one corner, you've got Shell on the opposite cloudy corner. Well, hey, I like making a right turn on this intersection. I don't want to go across the street and do 2 U-turns to go to that gas station. I'm perfectly fine using the Shell station because I make a right turn here every morning. Fine. It's going to cost you more to operate the other side. Well, hey, those guys benefit from using that other side of the corner, and that's fine. And competition will thrive, and it makes for a healthy market. It makes for competitive products being built on both sides of the chain, and I like it. And you know what? If you're a whale in that position, you'll say, "Hey, I'm gonna buy the gas that's cheaper on the Chevron side, and I'm gonna sell it to the guys over here on the Shell side because that's my game, and I'll be doing that all day."
There'll be some of that. Yep.
There'll be a lot of that, and so I like these analogies because they bring things down to like something you could grasp from a real world experience. And I try to use that a lot in my charts. I try to use that a lot in the psychology. Another thing, you notice my charts are not red and green.
Mine aren't either. I did the same thing.
I got rid of so maybe that's another pro tip that if you notice that some of the charting guys, not obviously not me, but some of these really, really smart charting guys, especially like the guys that make money trading for a living, none of them use red and green candles. And the reason is that you've been programmed since you were born to look at red stop signs and green go lights and lucky green candles and lucky horseshoes and lucky charms in green. So you're already psychologically biased when you look at charts. They're designed that way. And
it should be the opposite in crypto.
It should be I know
red
guys who
green.
And it really depends on it depends a lot on your psychology and what you need to do. I know traders that will inverse the chart. They'll hit Control I on the chart, and then they'll basically like the chart that we have now will be bearish instead of bullish. And the reason they do that is to remove any of their biases from it. They'll also flip the colors. They'll make the bearish charts green and the bullish charts red candles, and they do that because their psychology. They figured their psychology out, and 90% of this is like psychology.
Right.
So yeah, if you want to remain kind of neutral, I love these products, and I do understand that I have a bias, especially if I'm a net kind of long position.
Yep.
So I will short. I shorted Ethereum, I think, a couple times last week, and did participate in some of this this pullback. But that's great because my big spot holding is long. So if I ever did get blown out of a short, I'm actually happy with it because my spot portfolio is doing really well. And then if the short did work out, then I do feel bad about my spot position, but hey, I made money on the short. And then this is some of the stuff that we could probably talk to way later, like when eFiat and Famous and all of the forks, like the GMX fork, and where we could actually take advantage of shorting some of the products, especially if we're staked long term, 15 years out. Maybe you could do a little bit of shorting, just not too heavy, especially with leverage. You could get kind of trapped in that. But if the market does, if you feel like you're at a point where you want to sell, that you do not want to emergency end stake one of your HSIs or something like that, you're better off just buying
Shorting.
a small short position, and you can hold that throughout the bear market. You could cash it out, and you could buy back your product at a lower cost. So just we could talk about more of those kind of opportunities as they show up.
Yeah,
in the next bull market.
I like it. What's up, Money Gang? Glad you jumped in, man. It's great to have you.
Money Gang in the house.
Yo, what's up? How we doing, guys? How you
Doing
doing?
great, man. What feel free to add to the conversation. Any specifics you're looking at as far as Pulsechain launch strategy is concerned?
Oh man, I'm just getting my my dry powder ready to go. So basically, I have most of it ready, and then there's a couple of things that I just needed to iron off and get ready to go, and that's about it really. And accumulate, and just for me, I'm going to sit on my hands for the first little bit.
Great strategy.
Yeah, what's the point? Just people are going crazy right now in terms of the hex price and what's been going on.
Oh,
I think that we just need to chill the fuck out. Oh, sorry, excuse my language. Just need to chill.
good.
A lot of people are kind of. So what I'm thinking about from a psychological standpoint is I see all the FOMO, I see like everyone going crazy about it. And then I'm thinking, okay, so when's the negativity going to come in, right? That's right. My opportune time. That's when I want to be snipering, and that's when I want to be loading my position up. And then I'm also have kind of similar to Corey, where it's like a 60 day kind of DCA strategy from maybe the 60th day onwards up to 120 days ish. I may start that from the 30 days mark, and I'll do a DCA strategy on maybe a bi-weekly, weekly, or even like a 3-day basis. So, yeah, we'll see how it plans out, but I'm excited, man. Like, I'm really just excited to get the positions locked in and ready. So, yeah.
It's nice. A lot of the people on Twitter, it drives me a little bit bonkers when they're like, "Oh, I could wait another year. Like, it's gonna be fine." And I'm like, "Look, like we could wait, but the opportunities to build the passive income for an extended period, the more time we have to generate passive income from being a validator, from single-sided staking, from LP, whatever you want to participate in, we want to freaking build those things. That's what I'm really excited about. We could get to some of that." So even if you wanted to take some profits, you could sell off yield or whatever you wanted to do there. But we're net accumulators till 2024, 2025.
100%.
Would you guys agree that like September 2025 would be a good reflection of when we think the next bull run's going to be around that mark?
If it plays like a cookie cutter. Yeah.
If it plays cookie cutter, like what Bitcoin halving has done in the past and how that's played out. So if we're basing it off of that, we got 2 years, 4 months.
The only difference I see where the market could kind of shift one way or the other is just because this time around we had the Fed wrecking the markets, for the last year and a half. Now it might not do anything, it might not play into this at all, or it might a little bit. So that's the only thing I'm going to keep my. I'm going to expect a shift, but if it doesn't shift, then great. So,
yeah. So if a lot of people like, and one thing I think about a lot too, like not everybody's going to make it, right?
No.
Not everybody's going to buy the lows. Not everybody's going to sell near the highs. And so, I think it's fun to look at fractals and different things, but this cycle isn't going to play out exactly like the last few, where we could say, hey, a year and 6 months. That's going to be the time to sell. I don't know.
Or it could. That's the funny thing about it. It could too.
Right? I feel like that's what a lot of people are expecting. I feel like the likelihood of that is pretty low, since that's what from my feed, it seems like that's what a lot of people are expecting. So I'll have a range where I'm partially DCAing out and I'm providing liquidity to capture fees and go on the market that way.
Where my range is Q4 of 24, where I'm going to start looking. Like I might not start exiting, but I'm going to be looking at that time. So Q4 24 all the way to Q1 of 26.
Okay, so I got a similar idea on that. Yeah, that's my kind of time frame where I'm looking at. And if the Fed keep doing what they're doing and they don't pivot anytime soon, they keep raising interest rates, then I think that will extend into 2026. But I think
how long does the S&P stay in the bear market for, right? Like we're 17 months or 18 months in the S&P bear market. Like these things matter. They do. Market cycles matter in crypto too, but it's like, I don't know.
And if that's the case, right? So if we base it off of that, you've got at least 2 years, maybe 2 years, 4 months, 6 months ish. Yeah. That is a lifetime in crypto to earn yield, right? Like crazy time.
Right.
It's a crazy amount of time. So that's what I'm excited about is like, okay, well, maybe there's going to be that like post-launch pump, and some people might want to play that game. They might want to quickly exit a position depending on how big their position is, wait for it to drop off significantly, and then on the all-time low, boom, try and position themselves to DCA into that. and then it's after the off to the races really. So I personally will just try and accumulate and try and grow the bags, and then end of like late 2024, maybe into 2025, and get do a sell, and then 90% dip, hopefully. Go from there. Really, it's just
start setting some liquidity positions, and
You know what? I had so many people. I did a stream the other day, and they were like, "Why are you going to do liquidity for a Pulse and PulseX?" And I don't think a lot of guys are in the groups that we're in, and we're talking about that incentive token and how rare it will be. And if you take in 10% of your bag and doing a PulseX liquidity position,
or maybe a PHEX too.
Yeah, that's another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And getting some of that incentive. Like I think people are so worried about impermanent loss.
So worried
about it, not thinking about the fact that it only becomes permanent loss once you pull the position.
Yeah, and you're only scared of something until like it happens to you a few times, and you're like, oh, well, that's not that bad. I was like, I don't know, man. I've had my ass kicked so many times, and this isn't life in general. Like when you have something happen to you, you're like, oh, and then you kind of figure out like how to correct it next time and pivot. And like with Access and being like the groups you said that we've been in, has helped me make some better decisions with my LP positioning. In my last LP position, I did really well, and so like with a little bit of experience of getting my ass kicked. And then being around guys like you, I'm a lot more confident now in providing LP going into mainnet.
What they acted like it was the big scary bear of like crypto, right? Like LPing is just so risky and so dangerous. But I genuinely think that if you've got a good thesis on it and the right education, that it won't be that bad. And there's so many tools right now that you can use, like Uniswap.fish is a lifesaver for.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
LP. It's an incredible piece of tool. And so if you have it on a long enough basis, right, this is the thing, the accumulation of fees plus the incentive token combined on a long-term basis. If you're doing something short-term, maybe not. Maybe you'll get that crazy impermanent loss. But I think on a long-term basis, you can do well.
And obviously, if someone's starting out with like a couple grand and that's all they have, and they're going to provide liquidity with their whole bag. I mean, that's how you get into Direct, right? And so, it's everyone's financial situation is so different. So it's hard to talk about like what's good for Dane is good for me and what's good for you. Yeah. Even though me and Dane kind of have an idea because we talk so much, but it's like still.
And I think this is an important point to like bring some clarity around to. Once again, there's a lot of fear around impermanent loss. So it really comes down to the pairs that you provide liquidity in and the ratio that you're providing them to together in a pool. So there's a lot of people like, well, when it moons, then you're screwed. That's not necessarily the case. No. Now, if it moons and you're in a pair where you've paired against a stable coin, then by all means, that's that probably isn't the wisest decision. But if you're paired between, like Money Gang said, like a PulseX and a Pulse, if you think that they will move together in a certain ratio over time, well, if they both moon in proportion to that somewhat similarly, then your impermanent loss is mitigated. And if you're earning more fees, an incentive token that outweighs your loss, then you're in profit. So it's something, in my opinion, I'm with you, Money Gang. I want to do a little bit. I think there's a lot to be said about and I think some people aren't going to like this, but for me, I think there's a lot to be said about knowing yourself and determining how you want to play the game. I know for me, I love seeing some of my other stuff like printing green candles, or at least it feels that way, from generating fees and making money. And so like you're seeing the volatility. And I can tell you, when my bags were just like buy something and sit on it, that volatility, it hurts. Even though you're not selling tomorrow, you're like, this freaking sucks. But if I have something on the side that's like, hey, I benefit from the volatility and fees and things of that nature, the gamification, it helps me to be in a better emotional and mental state. It helps me to hold longer term if I play the game just a little bit. So I don't know. That's my
making money off the volatility.
Right.
That's a great point. Yep. And Corey, you I know that you're doing validators just like me, and so that's another like passive income, and then you can kind of look at the charts and go, oh man, look at that, 30% dip, and you're kind of like, but I'm still making a ton of money on my validator. It's it's kind of like, oh, and kind of to hit home on the pairs. It's with Pulse and Pulse X. It's not like it's Floki's cousin. You know what I mean? Floki's cousin, and you know what I mean? And you're like, oh my gosh, I paired it up with Floki's cousin, and it's just, you know what I mean? You gotta be careful. Obviously, you gotta be careful. But I think those two assets, those are our home run hitters. They're gonna be the darlings, right? Of 2023, 2024. All these people are gonna be talking about it. I know I was in a space the other day, and it's just amazing how people do not understand what Pulsechain is and what it's going to do. And it was a Pepe room, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I think some guys were trying to say, hey, you're going to get a copy. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, Pulsechain, whatever. No one cares about that. And I was like, you will care about it. Trust me.
There will come a time.
There will come a time where you
will when the Ethereum Foundation don't keep dumping the Ethereum price just to bring gas fees down, right?
Isn't that ridiculous?
It's crazy. The fact that they're doing that just shows you that they're screwed. They have no immediate plan within. I don't think within the next 5, maybe 7 years. I don't think they have an immediate plan.
Definitely not this market cycle. Yeah.
Well, and can you imagine having a business now? Once again, we're working on the basis that they were dumping in order to help the crazy gas fees. Can you imagine having a business that you needed to harm it in order to like help it? You needed to harm it financially. It's pretty interesting to watch.
Sometimes it kind of seems like the inmates have overtaken the asylum with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro, that was a perfect comparison.
You know what I mean? And when we look at what RH has put together, we know that, yes, we can be a reckless group, but we're not in a position to steer the ship by any means. Yes, we are savages in this community, but we're not in a position to pull the levers. And I sometimes feel like Vitalik is in a position where before it was the miners were jockeying him around. They were really kind of holding him hostage. And, sometimes I wonder how much decision-making he has sometimes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean,
yeah, there's a reason why it's called Ethereum Foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember when he was writing articles for Bitcoin Magazine. I remember watching the documentaries on Vitalik, and he was doing he was writing the articles, and he's just a nerdy kid in the corner doing that. And
crazy.
Look at him now, bro.
Yeah. Well, the same like Charles Hoskinson, right? He used to work with Vitalik, right, before, and then Charles branched off and did his own thing. It's insane.
Right. I like this. I like this comment. They say not everyone can chill to 60 to 80% dip. Vice versa, not everyone can survive a 50, 100, 250, 600x. And I would add to that, not everybody needs, not everybody needs to hold for a 10,000x. If you had $100, well then you need massive gains. If you threw on $1 million, well, you're just in a different position. And everybody has different targets and different goals.
Yeah.
And I think it's really funny to see like the sell shaming go around Twitter. And I'm like, man, nobody knows that person's circumstances, why they decided to do what they needed to do, how sophisticated they were. And so it is what it is. We're all going to sell at some point. And everyone's you just got to figure out your targets.
Every person is so unique. Every bag is so unique. There's no way you can really predict, except for what's Sprack does is with some charting, you can kind of predict once you have a history of the asset for a while, right? But like us knowing out of the gate with Pulsechain and Pulsex, there is no way in hell.
Right. Right.
What I find funny with that comment as well is, you know, if you've been in this ecosystem, you've survived a 98% dip, especially if you come into this system in 2021, right? Like
which I did.
Right, like myself as well included. I made majority of my money from Ethereum, not from Hex. So I think that there's going to be, hopefully there's a lot more like stability and mental fortitude that people have. If you haven't been through that cycle, then maybe not, and you're brand new to Pulsechain. But I don't know, you've waited so long already now, and you've dealt with a 98% dip, you know, in the bear run. So why would you not do it again? You've been through that.
I can counter argue that's why they would sell their bags, is because they went through that 98% dip, because they are hurting and they're pissed off and they think Richard Hart scammed them or whatever it is. And so like you can look at it from the other side too. Like, and that's why they would sell their bags more quickly. Like I said, I infiltrated this Telegram chat, and these are all OG Hexicans, man, and they're all turned OG Hexicans. A lot of them now are Zinnians, and they a lot of them talk about rage dumping on day one when Pulsechain comes out. A lot of these guys sacked big, really big, and so do it,
it's man.
Sad to see.
Please do it, because I
think both scenarios are going to work out. Yeah, both scenarios are going to work out. And if there is dips are in the game. They're not going to last long. I don't believe they will last long, because I believe that your thesis holds true, Money Game Crypto, to a set of the portion of the community.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, it's I welcome it too, man.
Well, I love what you said, if you want, the dips won't last like they did this bear market, right? It won't take a year or more to have a 98% dip. Like, you'll have those dips, but we'll be heading into the bull run. They'll be eating up pretty quick, and it won't.
New money's coming in too, right? Slowly into the ecosystem. It's we've been seeing it in the Richard Hart ecosystem. We see people now who are in our ecosystem who didn't even sacrifice for Pulsex. We see that. We see like a whole growth in that. Just because of hacks and just the word getting around. So we're growing, and we're growing fast. And once Pulsechain launches, holy crap, man. You want to talk about eyeballs? Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Speaking of eyeballs, you saw the coverage yesterday on Crypto Banter, one of the biggest communities in crypto, and that guy fucking shows everything.
Yeah.
but the fact that he had the, I don't know what words to use, but let's just say that he had the temperament to not expose his audience to the sacrifice. But you know very well that they did. However, that's not uncommon, because the guy had done pre-market allocations with Luna, pre-market allocations with Solana. Yes. The guy's a VC. He's from the VC world, and he understands that venture capitalism, it's a buckshot. You're going to shoot out 10 bullets. 9 of them fail. Yep. Only one of them needs to work. That's it. You make that 100x. It makes the other ones whole. So he's pretty careful about not exposing his audience to things like that, because he's willing to take the but you know, he's got a different capital mindset. He can sit there and buy everything. Guys, you know, he's like a 9-figure guy. So and you know what, the audience, they're like $100 in a dream. And you just got to look at it. You got to look at it from those perspectives. I don't blame him too much for not talking too much about I mean, a lot of people are angry at it, because, you know, he had this whole this opportunity to expose his audience to the asset, but he didn't in good faith of trying to protect his audience, because that's a different investing strategy. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know you're going to wait 2 years. You don't know that it's going to dump 90%. You don't know any of these things. And so I do respect him for that. And I also respect him for now talking about it, that it's going to launch. And that's going to be great for the rest of us. We're going to have an opportunity to have the new money coming in. Like you were talking about, all these meme coins. I think Pepe was a local top signal, to be honest. You know, because
it seems that way, huh?
Bitcoin Bitcoin has a correction, and then Ethereum has a correction next, and then you'll see meme coins just skyrocket, and that's kind of what we saw again. We saw it kind of on a smaller scale than on the bigger end of cycle type of scales that we see on the last two at least. But yeah, I like that he's getting involved in covering it. I think we're going to see people like Walrus get invited to talk about it. I think we're going to see like all of the beautiful products that we've been building for the past 2 years, liquid loans and eFiat, and we're going to have everything. We're going to have the whole system state ready to go. You want to trade Pepe? Come on over. We'll trade some Pepe. Make some Pulsex fees for us. Yeah, buy and burn, buy and burn. I think the acceleration is going to be pretty quickly. We do have to get over that. I'm counting on a 90% dip, and I know it doesn't sound good. It's unpopular to some people. Don't know if that's going to be into the sacrifice price, because we don't know what price the discovery will happen at the time of launch. If it's anything like Ethereum also had a sacrifice. They had you sent Bitcoin in, and you got an allocation of Ethereum, and then if Vitalik was selling the Bitcoin to pay his devs appropriately, so he could do whatever he wants with that Bitcoin. Greg the Duck could do whatever he wants with the sacrifice money. As a matter of fact, we kind of know what he's going to do with it, which is great. But I'm looking at Ethereum's price chart. It dipped 88% from the launch. 88%. That's like, the standard. We just looked at the Uniswap. Uniswap was about 87%, 90% dips. I think Solana had something similar, but except Solana was a little different because 90% of the capital was allocated to the VCs, and they had a 2-year lockup, so they were contractually binded not to sell it. They didn't start selling until much later, and as a matter of fact, a lot of them still have not sold, even though their lockup period was over. So that's a different ecosystem. We don't need to talk about that at the moment, but just looking at Ethereum's performance, looking at like what happened during launch, I'm not expecting anything different from Pulse, and I'm going to use it as a buying opportunity. What do you guys think about what Crispy Man said the other day? Is instead of buying the Hex, which is going to be a great fucking buy, I'm not, but doing the Hedron play instead, because at the moment the Hex to Hedron price is depreciated. So Hedron in terms of Hex price is massively discounted. So let's just say that you wanted to go for some HSIs. Well, you need Hedron to buy that. So why don't I just pick up a bunch of Hedron super cheap, especially at the launch, and wait for the run up, and then start going and auctioning off some HSIs. And then now you're getting a double discount on the HSI. You're getting a discount on the Hedron that you purchased to allocate those. I think that's you could be a power.
You have to feel good about the ICOSA ceiling price coming a little bit more intact, in my opinion, to feel real good about that. There's so much speculation in that equation to say, like, does the ICOSA floor get better? Do you want to buy? I mean, almost the vast majority of the HSI stakes are 15-year stakes.
Assume
do you want to hold that? Like,
assume you get Hedron 90% off from where it's at now. Like,
that's what I'm assuming as well.
Your cost basis of the Hedron is so incredibly low.
Sure.
That then you wait for Hex to pump and do its thing. Hedron's gonna pump, but maybe your cost basis getting in was incredibly low, and then you go pick up those HSI stakes. Like, you don't need that ICOSA ceiling even close to really kill it, depending on your basis. Yeah.
And then what if Rocket Pool comes in, right? If that gets full.
Oh, and then you won hard. Awesome. Yeah. Then you won really hard.
And one of the things that Sloth was saying about Hedron in particular was obviously a lot of those bonuses at the beginning, right? We're going to see probably year 6, year 7. We're going to start seeing them come off. And I can't remember. Axis has this chart of the inflation and how it goes down significantly after the next couple of years. I really want to get a hold of that chart because I think obviously it's extremely inflationary at the moment in the early days, but yeah, it's really, really underperforming from what it needs to be. And I just base everything off of a 90% off, right? So we know that the T-share rate is going to be towards, like, if we go in 2025, probably anywhere between 42,000 up towards that 46,000 mark in terms of T-share rate. That is just going to drive the price up of Hedron automatically. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I like it as a play. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, don't sleep on Hedron, man. That's the one.
Especially if we get I mean, what are we at right now? 5 zeros and like 1 5. What if it ends up being like 10 zeros or something stupid after the? I mean, it could be. You could get the buy of the century on Hedron right at launch, man. I don't know, right? It's like, but it's
I'm
something
waiting
you
for
want to
people
look
to
at.
start selling now, right? I'm
Yeah,
waiting for people to move from Hex and go, right, okay, well, I've got all this Hedron available. Why don't I just dump it like from the stakes that I already have? Maybe some of the old OGs, whales, sharks, because we can see that they're, destroying the price right now of Hex and selling off big time. So why aren't they selling off for Hedron? And maybe they are. I haven't really checked the charts that much, but
they are. It's 5 zeros 1 6. So yeah,
that is low, man. That is
yeah,
extremely
down too. Yeah.
There's some serious red candles there. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, man. I'll be checking all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually I was charting it earlier, and it's depressed versus the hex price, and it's been in a downward it's been in a downward channel for since last September. So it's getting to a kind of a nice little support zone that I have marked out, and I think that, like, you should be in a good spot to pick it up at the moment. So, like, let's say the highest range. Oh, can you guys see my chart?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Hex versus Hedron, and I was kind of charting this. This is by the way the initial dump. So, like, we went from really high to really low. It was like an 80% dump, and then this is 90%. So you had this accumulation range, and then we had the takeoff. But if we look at how far we've come up, and this is in terms of hex price, so it's not dollars, but we've been trickling down. So we're at a 50% discount to hex. So that means you're going to get, if you buy the Hedron now, it's costing you 50% less than the purchasing power versus hex. And if we kind of just back off of this big, let me get rid of some of this stuff, because I know I charting guys have way too much shit on their charts. I know. If we look at kind of like this run up, we could see a little dip further into this pocket, but let's just say we dip down.
Sell off.
Yeah, this is a sell off, and if we could be picking it up, again, writing the channel back up to the top, you get a 2-for-1 on your Hedron versus hex. Then you get a 2-for-1 on the on the HSIs. I mean, at minimum, I think I was getting 60% off, 70% off HSI auctions, and I think that's going to still be around for a while. So yeah, this is and even without Pulsechain forking, let's just say we just kept going on, I mean, this would be a good purchase for Hedron as it is. Now, that's the long term. In the short term, I was looking at this downward channel, and the downward channel, we're kind of breaking out of the downward channel and into the upper sort of ranges here, but won't know for sure until we break out and start trending up. So right now we're still in a downtrend. Picking up Hedron right now would be a good idea, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but
yeah, I had some conservative like price ranges that I thought it might be at, and from your chart in there, it kind of looks towards that way. Like I was looking at if hex is around 80 cents 2025, So let's say around that mark in, say, July time, and the T-share rate is about 42K. If we're basing it off of 90% off, we're looking at kind of like 30s 18, 30s 220. That was kind of the mark I was seeing. And then I saw the way that you were charting it. It was up towards 30s 16, I believe.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that? Yeah, that's where I'm looking at it.
It's like 130x from here, isn't it? Roughly speaking.
I think you'll do 100x next ball run. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Let me see if I can pull up HDRM, because I had it up and then I wanted to chart it against the hex price, but yeah, we're getting this massive dip right now. This is against USD, so different chart, but we are looking at a kind of a failure right now. So we did fail this this trend line, and I don't see the next support level till about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros and a 1. So we could be seeing better some nicer, deeper discounts into Hedron. And like you said, even just breaking up from down here back to the all-time high, you know, that's still like that's a 500% move. And then if you're looking at like the macro stuff, you know, in the weekly kind of channels, and looking at the hex price, obviously if we're in tandem with the hex price, yeah, so like 100x, 200x going into 2025, yeah, that's not out of the question. That's actually perfectly in line with what's happening here with this pitchfork. If we line up with the pitchfork and we sort of find a bottom here somewhere in this area, and all we need to do is hit the middle median line, which is what most of these assets do. Bitcoin's been doing it. Ethereum did it. There's when we get this big massive pullback and it comes back up, it definitely targets that middle median line. 4 zeros and a 7. That's like 100x from down here. That's a 700x from down there. So it's kind of moon math, but it's and this is log, so it's a log chart. So it's compressing the overall volatility on that factor. But yeah, no, not out of the question. And I think earlier we talked about having a hex price at about $5 to $10 at a minimum, and that's just a conservative kind of bet that I have. If we do hit up into these middle median lines, the $10 is easy, and then on the upper bound a $30 hex, which is kind of insane to talk about right now, but it's on the table.
Oh, it's wild.
That's based off a 90% discount from ceiling price.
Yes,
right. Like that's what I'm looking at as kind of the basis point of, because it's been around that mark, give or take, since its launch.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna, Corey, just like you, I only got like an hour of sleep last night.
That's all I
I'm gonna catch a wink. I'm gonna have vets call me if something pops off here. I'm gonna catch a nap though, and we'll see about what UTC time maybe.
I know, maybe, right? Yeah, that's a good point.
I think I'm kind of just trying to track the idea that if it does go today, it'd probably be around UTC.
Yeah.
More like 5 o'clock our time here.
Yep.
So,
my time too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys. Good talk with you guys.
You, bro, man.
We'll be in contact, everybody. So peace.
Yeah, man. Thanks for jumping in.
Yep.
Thanks for coming in, Crypto. Compassion.
Oh, this is a good question. What would you guys, of course, we don't give financial advice on this show. You could talk about, how you personally might do something like this if you had an extra $1,000. Would you buy Hex or Icosa? I think for me, I'd be holding right now. I'd wait till Pulsechain launch and look for opportunities personally. What would you guys do?
Especially with 1K.
Yeah.
I would definitely allocate that over onto the Pulsechain side and whatever was on sale, whatever I can get a good deal on. Maybe it's Hex, maybe it's Icosa. Maybe Icosa would be on sale because maybe people forget about it for the first couple weeks. I don't know, right? All the attention's on the new shiny toys. So that's what I would do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm completely the same with it. I would bring it over to the Pulsechain side. I don't know if you're looking at the gas fees, but what 100 gwei, it's crazy. So for that little amount of $1,000,
It's tough.
you know, your money's going to go so much better on the opposite side.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
Corey,
the other
go
thing,
ahead, Brett.
the other thing I was thinking was that we launched not necessarily on a time, but I think a block height. And I think Richard I think he was talking about he didn't want anyone to know when that time would be, but we would have a window, which he gave us a window, was a week. But
Yeah.
but I think it's going to matter on the block height, and so it's not necessarily a time marker, but more of a on-chain analytic. So it could launch in the next 10 minutes. It could launch in the next 10 hours. And I think it's going to be based on block height.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
I do believe it's based off block height too.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I just got a quick comment. So right now, I like that charting that Sprackberger was doing on Hadron, and I'm a big fan of Hadron too. So I'm actually putting a limit order around that support level of 5 zeros and a 1, and then it goes to 6 zeros if it drops below that, because I think that when it launches and there's a sell-off, that's when there's going to be these wicks down on some of these assets.
Yes.
And I think that's a good time. So I'm putting limit orders on Hedron right now. And I had like 10K of liquidity set at around 2.5 cents for Hex. But then I woke up last night and I pulled it because I thought, well, hold on, I don't even know if I'm going to get a copy. It would be nice if Richard came out right now, because it already may have been forked, right? Privately. And so I pulled it because I thought, well, if I'm going to buy more Hex, I can for, if it comes down to, decimal point 3 zeros and a 1 or anywhere around that for Hex, man, that is, God, we are so fortunate.
You just have to feel confident about your holdings on Ethereum. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the question. Do you buy discounts on ETH, or do you go over to where the new game in town is over on Pulsechain?
Yeah, because that order, your LP down there to 2.5 cents might have an opportunity of getting filled or making some fees in that range once there's confirmation of the fork. It could happen.
Yeah, but yeah, and then my concern was not getting a copy, like leaving it there, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to buy more Hex, and I'm not getting a copy, and I'm not getting a copy, I'll just buy it over on Pulse.
You're getting over half off anyways, right? Like, your copy's 2 for 1. That's one way to look at it. Your copy's 2 for 1. Like if you set that range down there in a 2-cent range, you're getting like almost a third, of the cost now. That's another way of looking at it. It just depends on what you want and what your goals are. It is tough. I've got my bags pretty packed on the Ethereum side. I would like to pick up some more. I want to weight my my portfolio where it's a little bit more heavily weighted on the Pulsechain side. I'm not giving up on the Ethereum side. I still want to keep my assets there, but any new economic energy and stuff like that, I want to be allocating for Pulsechain.
Yeah. Same here. I got my my IRA account set up, and it's funny. We could do a whole session on that. How that was kind of a pain in the ass to set up, but the cool thing is that if we do have a fork of Rocket Pool on the Pulsechain side, I'm able to provide liquidity to that in the IRA. So in terms of a long-term asset holding Pulse, using the Rocket Pool delegated proof of stake at that point, you could just earn the fees inside of an IRA and just leave it alone for 10 years. That's beautiful. Yeah. So definitely going to go on that side heavy, especially on the longer term asset allocation. Going to go heavy on HSIs, going to go heavy on, especially in that wallet. I really can't extract any economic capital into dollars anyway that I could use until I'm 59 and a half or whatever retirement account lets me to do that. But I'm glad I did it. I set it up at the beginning of the year. Corey's been a part of that journey with me. It takes quite a bit of work, and we could talk about that too. I'm more than willing to help other people do that. I think it's the way to go in terms of the 5.5 if you're just going to be sitting there and holding the asset, and you don't want to pay the capital gains taxes on it within the account, the IRA is the best way to go. And then obviously you have your short-term buckets that will pay for you to live comfortably from now until the 10 years from now. But managing both sides of that is going to be pretty important. It's going to make a huge difference when you're in your late 50s, early 60s, and you have all this asset, and then you don't know what inflation's going to do. The dollar's going to get crushed, and the tax man's going to come after you. So just be mindful of the taxes.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Well, cool, guys. We've been going for almost a couple of hours. I think it's probably a good place to wrap it up. Any last parting words you want to share with the audience before you take off?
And Money Game, make sure to shill your YouTube channel and all that stuff too.
Yeah, man. You can find me Money Gang Crypto. Feel free to subscribe. Guys who are based in the UK, we got a meet up this Saturday coming up. So tomorrow, right?
Fun.
2:00 in Marylebone. Yeah, Marylebone pub.
Michelle's there.
Man, Crypto Stylist is there. Crypto Coffee's there. Myself will be
Nice.
there. So yeah, it's kind of like a mini meetup, and it'll be great fun. So I guess it's a bit of a Pulsechain launch
Bring
party.
your
I
computer
guess.
and your hardware wallets.
I mean, again, if you want a ratio trade, why not? But yeah, guys, thank you very much for having me on. I got to dip out and jump on another stream as well. But I want to thank you guys.
It's great.
Pub in Marylebone. It's RCS. It's Marylebone Pub. Just type it in, Marylebone Pub in Marylebone. It's about 5 minutes walk from Baker Street Station and Regent's Park. Very, very close.
Nice.
Go check my Twitter out, Money Gang Crypto, to find the description of where it's at. You can find it, and it's the pinned tweet.
Cheers,
guys.
Cool, man.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
See you, brother.
Thanks, guys. And like and share this video, guys, and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah,
there we go. Man. Pump our bags.
Cool, guys. Any Sprack and Rhino, any last parting words you want to share before we take off?
Yeah, I'm just oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say my parting thought is the Ethereum gas prices, and that's all that's all I.
Oh, no, this is Ethereum gas fees here, right?
Yeah, we're peaking at 103, and this is not even like this is the bottom. This is a down channel, and so
I see that. That's
hitting
crazy.
up at about 241. Peaked at about 241 earlier, and this trend has been coming up. So, and we're not even in a bull market. So just imagine what these fees are going to look like in the next bull market. So that's my parting thought. Thanks, guys. Though appreciate it.
See you, brother.
Yeah, I was just see you later. I was just doing some. I'm on my calculator here, and I know I bought some Hedron before. I bought like $2,500 worth when it was 502, and so if I do 2,500 divided by 0.1234, oh sorry, because I was just doing this on my calculator and the numbers weren't coming out right. Let me see, 1,234,552. Yeah, that was like 1,250,000. And then when I do I'm thinking about buying 10K of Hedron, just because I just want that to be part of my position, and then I get a duplicate over. Yeah. So 10K, and then I divide.
No, it's not guaranteed.
Yeah. Be careful with the copy right now.
We're unsure about.
Oh, that's right.
We think that we're still like in the area that we can still maybe get the duplicate, but still. And then we were kind of talking about that in the beginning of our show. We don't know. And so, yeah, obviously, if you see a steal on Hedron, not that I'm not discouraging you of buying it, but just understand that when you buy it, there might be possibility there's no duplicate. So just keep that in the back of your head, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, I just did. I did 10,000 divided by 5 zeros and a 1, and that gives me 10 billion. And if I do
exactly, so yeah,
that would be a healthy starting point.
It's a great position to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always like to try to whenever I'm making a move in crypto, it's like, okay, what is my best case outcome? Oh, what's my worst case outcome? And then I need to be comfortable with the worst case outcome to make my move. And I really learned how to do it because of the liquidity providing. That's where I really learned that is because of that. And so this is the same thing. Nothing wrong with buying stuff right now. Just understand that,
we might not get a copy yet.
Yeah, and you might. You might end up wake up tomorrow and we're live and you might have the copy. It's like, who knows, man?
Yeah, see, I pulled an LP position. It would be nice if Richard came out and said, "Hey, for those people who haven't already purchased X, you still get a copy." It would be nice.
Yeah.
I doubt he'll do that though.
No.
Yeah.
He just leave room for gaming the system. I don't think.
Exactly.
Yeah, he said he doesn't want that.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, cool guys. Well, thanks everybody jumping in. Thanks everybody for staying with us today. We hope your wildest Pulsechain dreams come true. And we'll talk to you later.
See you guys.
See ya.
Yep.